Hi guys, GamePlayer here. Did you know legendary Pokemon tend to be based on birds, dogs, more birds, more dogs, and onions?
Like seriously, how many bird and dog legendaries do we need? Legendary mythical Pokemon have been around since the beginning. Some of them are amazing and it always feels good to have them on your team, and some are, ew, what is this onion doing here? Legendary Pokemon are super rare Pokemon you find near the ends of Pokemon games that require intense battles and lots of Pokeballs to catch. There's always multiple in every generation, and they're really strong, usually having high stats and powerful moves. Mythical Pokemon are just legendaries, but way more rare and worse. The difference between mythicals and legendaries is that mythical Pokemon can't be caught through normal gameplay, and they're usually only given out through events. And again, they're worse for some reason. These Pokemon tend to have signature moves and abilities, usually being very powerful. Except Terravolt and Fusion Flare, those are letdowns.
But which legendary mythical Pokemon are the best? I've made a competition to see which legendary mythical Pokemon take the crown. I'll take one legendary and one mythical from each generation and put them to the final competition. Please note, these are my opinions, so please don't kill me.
I'll also judge the shinies too, because why not? Generation 1 starts with 4 legendaries and 1 mythical Pokemon. Game Freak makes a lot of legendary trios, the first one being called the Winged Mirages. It consists of Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, and they're found in different areas of the Kanto region. The names of the Winged Mirages are actually pretty clever. The ends of their names correspond to Spanish numbers uno, dos, and tres, meaning 1, 2, and 3. The problem I have with these legendaries is that they're just powerful birds, and that's it. There isn't really anything special about these things, and while you might use one of them on your team, there's really no point. You already have other powerful Pokemon. But on the other hand, Mewtwo is really sick. It's a powerful Psychic-type beast. Wait, it is Mewtwo. I mean, it's a cat, but I'm not too sure about that.
Come here, Mewtwo, come here. What are you doing?
Mewtwo is a legendary Psychic-type Pokemon, which, in the Pokemon lore, was a result of an attempt to clone the mythical Mew. Mewtwo is caught near the end of Cerulean Cave. Unlike any other legendary birds, Mewtwo is definitely a good choice for a Pokemon team. It has really great stats, and in Generation 1, its Psychic-type meant that it only had one weakness. It's also good for bragging to your friends, like what's cooler, having 3 birds or a cat that can destroy the world. Mew is a mythical Pokemon, which has sparked a lot of controversy and myths. Back when Red and Blue came out, there were multiple myths that you could find Mew under a truck. You really couldn't have done better than that? Mew is really just Mewtwo, but worse. It can learn any move, which is cool, but its stats aren't the best, especially for a mythical Pokemon. And since it's mythical, it's extremely hard to find. Mew wasn't even legitimately obtainable until Generation 3, and even then you had to get an old C map, which is only available in Japan. At least you can get Mew in later games, like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Sword and Shield, by buying the Pokeball Plus. So you're basically just buying Pokemon. Fits today's standards. Generation 2 introduced shiny Pokemon, rare color alterations of Pokemon that were extremely rare. Not only did the new Pokemon get shiny forms, the older ones did too. Moltres is now your dinner, and Zapdos and Articuno shiny forms are... Mewtwo's shiny form is simple but good. I like the green belly and tail, looks nice. And Mew's shiny doesn't look bad either. Although the whole Pokemon's color changed, would you really want this to be the shiny? Overall, the first legendary mythical Pokemon were pretty good, despite a few flaws. I'd give this generation's legendaries a 7 out of 10. And my pick for the legendary contestant of Generation 1 is... Mewtwo. What else did you expect? My pick for the mythical Pokemon of Generation 1 is... well, Mew gets a free pass, I guess. Generation 2 introduced 5 new legendary Pokemon, a legendary dog trio, a tower duo, and an onion.
I spent 5 hours getting this.
2 main legendaries of Generation 2, or the tower trio, are Ho and Lugia. Ho is the fire-type Pokemon of the duo, and its signature, kind of, move is Sacred Fire. Lugia, on the other hand, is based around water. Never mind. Seriously, why isn't Lugia a water type? Despite being birds, I think. Ho and Lugia are pretty cool legendaries, and they're worth having on a team. They're more powerful than the other legendary birds, and they have more significance to the plot of the games. The next trio is a legendary dog trio, or the roaming legendaries, and they're just as insignificant as the birds.
Why did I catch these?
Although Game Freak made the beasts more significant to the story than the birds, they still don't feel that special. You just walk around for a few hours and catch a dog. It's hard and not worth it. There's also only one mythical Pokemon of this generation, and I'm telling you, it's an onion. Celebi is a mythical psychic grass-type Pokemon, and unlike Mew, it was a bit easier to get. Although you still need an event item, it can be obtained in the same generation game, Pokemon Crystal. The shiny forms for these Pokemon are actually really good. Blue shiny is gorgeous and is considered a favorite shiny by many people. Lugia's shiny isn't as good as Mewtwo's per se, but pink still looks nice. And the shinies for the legendary dogs improved a lot more than the previous trio. Not much do the beasts change color, but the subtle change makes them look pretty cool. I also really like Celebi's shiny. It's simple but cute. Overall, Johto vastly improved in terms of legendaries and their shiny forms, and I don't have many problems with these Pokemon. I'd give this generation an 8.5 out of 10. And my pick for the legendary contestant of Johto is Olo. Olo is a great legendary, and its significance and power makes it a great Pokemon for your team and a good stable for Generation 2. Celebi gets a free pass again. Funny on purpose, I guess. Legendaries in Generation 3 changed a bit and were more connected to the story of the games. You had to go into the Cave of Origin and battle Groudon and Kyogre. These two Pokemon are part of the Weather Tree, the third one being Rayquaza, being catchable in both games. Groudon and Kyogre were the two main legendaries of Gen 3, also being based around fire and water. Oh, come on. Rayquaza is the third Pokemon of the trio and is the main Pokemon of Pokemon Emerald. It's also in the special Delta episode in the Gen 3 remakes. I have to say, GamePlayer really pulled their Pokemon off. They're super cool and strong, and they tie into the story really well. And in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Groudon and Kyogre have powerful primal forms. Rayquaza also has a Mega Evolution. The next trio in this generation is the Reggie Trio. What I love about these legendaries is the big side quests you have to do to catch them, and the rewarding feeling you get for doing so. To catch the members of the Reggie Trio, you have to go to Pacific Log Town with a road hand in the front of your party and one in the back. You need to circle west across the routes until you find these tidal waves forcing you into a dive spot. When you go into the dive spot, you eventually find a cave you can resurface out of. There, you can find a bunch of signs with brow on them, and interacting with the sign at the front while you have Rogue and the Wailord in the right spots opens up 3 doors around the region containing 3 members of the Reggie Trio. 3 members of the trio are Regice, Regirock, and Registeel. They're pretty cool, but as team members, not so much. There's also another legendary duo called the Eon Duo, consisting of Latios and Latios. They turn out to be very important to the story later on, and with the remakes you can use the Eon Flute to ride on the respective legendary in the sky. You also get Megas. I like these Pokemon, they're good psychic types and they're cute. Unlike the previous 2 generations, there are 2 mythical Pokemon involved. Finally, some competition! One mythical is Deoxys, being very well known, especially in the Gen 3 remakes. It's the only unlike Pokemon found in space and has 3 other forms, its attack, defense, and speed forms. Deoxys used to be very exclusive to the older games, but now, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it can be caught at the end of the Delta episode, which makes it easy to get, but is it really mythical now? My opinions on this generation's shiny is very mixed. Groudon was puked on and Kyogre was, but the shiny Primal Reed versions look sick. I love the black color. The same goes for Rayquaza and its Mega, it also looks amazing. The Eon Duo shiny forms look pretty cool too. I like the simple color changes. Deoxys is a really cool shiny in my opinion. I love the change from orange to yellow, it looks awesome. Jirachi though. Really? Anyway, my pick for the whole legendary contestant is Rayquaza. I love Rayquaza and it's an awesome legendary. It's a great Pokemon for a team. For the mythical, it's Deoxys. Like, who wants to use a tape holder on a team? And for rating, I'd say 8 out of 10. Generation 4 has some of the best legendaries in my opinion. The main trio of Sinnoh is a creation trio, and I have to say, even to a person who hasn't played Generation 4 game before, I love these legendaries. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina are the members of this trio, and I like how their typings are based on what the actual Pokemon are based on. Dialga is based on solids, Palkia is based on liquids, and Giratina is based on gases. So there is a reason why Palkia is a water type. The other legendary trio is the Lake Trio, consisting of Luxie, Misprint, and Acid, all being psychic types. They may seem unimportant at first, but they actually have a lot of significance to the game's story. They're not very strong, they have a lot of lore. There are 3 other legendaries, Heatran, Cresselia, and Regigigas, and in my opinion, they're not bad. Heatran is a cool legendary and a good member for a team. Cresselia has some cool significance to the game's story, and Regigigas is a cool new Regi. These 3 legendaries don't have a ton of significance to the story, but they're still cool. Sinnoh had an astounding 5 new mythical Pokemon, and they're all pretty cool. Manaphy and Phione are similar mythical Pokemon, and Manaphy is the only mythical that could breed, hatching Phione. Manaphy was obtained by playing the Pokemon Ranger spin-off game and completing a certain mission, allowing you to transfer Manaphy to a Gen 4 game. You can then breed Manaphy to get Phione. Shaman is another mythical Pokemon which actually has 2 forms, a land form and a sky form. It can be found in Flower Paradise once you become Professor Oak Letter, a limited time event item. Shaman is pretty cool in my opinion, and it's actually pretty good for a mythical. Darkrai is another mythical Pokemon added to Gen 4 found on Newland Island by getting a limited time event item in Pokemon Ranger. I really like Darkrai, I think it's an awesome Pokemon, a good addition to a team. And we've all heard about Arceus, the god of Pokemon. And I understand the nickname because this thing is broken. It has base 120 stats, it can be any type, it is truly mythical. It is impossible to get without cheating though. It was originally meant to be caught in the Hall of Origin, unlocked by using the Azure Flute item, but it was never distributed. Now let's go for the shinies. Pokemon Dialga shinies are... Wait, those are shiny forms? I like Giratina's shiny, it doesn't look bad. I like the gold and blue mix. The late true shinies are meh, it's just one color change. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's okay. For the 3 side legendaries, Cresselia and Regigigas' shiny forms are really good. I like the purple on Cresselia's body, it looks nice. I also like the blue replacing the yellow on Regigigas. He ran that. Really? Okay, the lighter skin and yellow metal color looks alright, but why the pink eyes? Each red is supposed to be this intimidating lava beast, not a doll. Manaphy Peonate? Okay, what the heck. Shaman Shiny has a nice color change. The green parts on it turn to a nice teal, which I like. Darker Shiny's bad. Arceus has a visually stunning shiny in my opinion. I love how the gold body color fits with the yellow rings on it. While Arceus as a coal cannot be legitimately obtained, if the Azure Flute is hacked in, Arceus does have a chance to be shiny, so it's partially uncommon. Overall, Generation 4 has some really cool legendaries and mythicals. My only problem is that the shinies aren't that good. Some shiny forms like Giratina look amazing, but the other ones like most of the mythicals aren't good. Overall, I'd rate this generation 9 out of 10. Now, my pick for the Sinnoh Legendary Contest is Cresselia. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I really like Cresselia. It's powerful, cute, and has a great shiny. For the mythical, I pick Shaman. Although Arceus is cool and all, I find it slightly overrated. I think Shaman is a superior... Now we're moving on to Generation 5, and I have some mixed feelings about Unova. The main trio of Generation 5 is a Cow Trio, and it consists of Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. Reshiram is white and Zekrom is black, and with the game names being Pokemon Black and Pokemon White, you'd expect what they do with it, right?
What?
The third Pokemon, Kyurem, is a weird T-Rex dragon thing, which has more story significance in the game sequels, Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. The next trio is Forces of Nature. What are these things? It consists of 3 flying type legendaries, Tornadus, Thunders, and Landers. They're all cloud things, and they also have Therian forms. They can become a bird, a cat, or... The final trio of Unova is called the Swords of Justice, and it consists of Terrakion, Parisian, and Cobalion. They all have the ability Justify, which increases their attack when hit by a dark type move, and it's pretty much a defense against idiots. I mean, they're all fighting types. Unova brings us 4 more mythicals, Victini, Keldeo, Meloetta, and Genesect. Victini is a cute little fire thing with the signature move Victory. Victini's not bad, it's just nothing special. It's pretty similar to mythicals like Mew and Celebi. Keldeo is a water fighting type mythical Pokemon that is related to the Swords of Justice, and having the fighting type and having Justified as an ability. Unlike the other Swords of Justice, it has 2 forms, an ordinary form and a blue form. To be honest, I don't understand why it has 2 forms. Neither of its stats nor its looks change much. Meloetta is a normal psychic type mythical Pokemon based on music. Ever stop singing? Meloetta also has a pirouette form, which turns it into a normal fighting type. Honestly, it just looks like it came out of the shower. The 4th mythical Pokemon is Genesect, a bug steel type robot thing. I remember so many people speculating that Genesect was going to make a movie in Alpha Sapphire with things like playground rumors and internet forums, instead of when a man in Mavo City says something about waiting for Genesect, and to this day, I still wonder why he said that. Now for the shinies. Generation 5 introduced a feature called a Shiny Lock, which prevented certain Pokemon, usually legendaries, from being shiny. This was applied to Reshiram, Zekrom, and a few other mythicals. Fortunately, not everything was shiny locked. But hey, at least the Shiny Lock was not full shinies. The Kyurem's Shiny Lock is still bad. On the other hand, the Swords of Justice shiny forms are really good. Parisian Shiny is beautiful, and Terrakion has some really nice shiny colors. Cobalion isn't as good as the other 2, but it still looks okay. But then the Nature Trio is just as bad as the Tower Trio. The shinies barely change. Each legendary only has a slight color change, and they're not even that good. Victini actually has a really nice looking shiny. Simple body color change works really well with a Pokemon like Victini, and I like it. Meloetta's already form shiny looks amazing. The swap between blue and green looks really nice, I really like it. Pirouette form shiny, on the other hand, doesn't really look that good in my opinion. I don't really like the pink on it. Genesect also has a really nice shiny, and it's one of the best shinies I've ever seen, and a really good simple color change. That about wraps it up for Unova. Like I said earlier, it's very mixed. Some legendaries are awesome, and some are terrible. My final rating is a 6 out of 10. And my pick for the legendary contestant of Unova is Virizion. Virizion's always had a special place in my heart. It's such a cool Pokemon, and I like the grass fighting type. It also has a great shiny. And my pick for the mythical contestant is Meloetta. I think Meloetta is a nice, powerful Pokemon. I like the idea of a Melody Pokemon, and the Aria form shiny is very nice. Now we move on to Generation 6, which is the first generation to have less legendaries than the previous one. In fact, it only has 3. Kalos has one legendary trio called the Aura Trio, which consists of Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. They all have this aura-like ability that increases certain type moves. These legendaries aren't bad in my opinion. I like how powerful they are and what they're based on. It's cool. Kalos also introduces 3 new mythical Pokemon, Diancie, Hoopa, and Volcanion. Diancie is a rock-like mythical Pokemon associated with carving, but it doesn't evolve from it. It also has a Mega Evolution, which gives it a very powerful attack, but poor health. Hoopa is another Kalos mythical Pokemon with 2 forms, a Confined and Unbound form. Its typing also changes with its form, going from Psychic Ghost type to Psychic Dark type. It's not bad, even in its confined form. I think its biggest con is that it has multiple 4x weaknesses in both forms, but overall it's pretty good. Volcanion is the 3rd mythical Pokemon of Kalos, and it's also the only Fire-Water type Pokemon as of Generation 8. It doesn't have bad stats for a mythical, and its typing combined with its ability Water Absorb only gives it 3 weaknesses. Not a bad Pokemon. With your shinies, the Shiny Locks return.
Well, hey, the boss wanted to know how many shiny locks you want. All of them. Oh, okay.
Xerneas is a simple shiny. Its black legs are just turned white, but I really like it. It looks nice. Yveltal turns into bacon. I love it. Zygarde is widely known as a shiny Pokemon, very hard to get. Only available as a paid event gift, which only occurred once, so it's not even huntable without cheating. Hopefully we can hunt it in the Sword and Shield DLC. Diancie, in my opinion, is a great shiny. I love the darker colors and the pink gems on its head. It looks really nice. Hoopa. Looks like a dog beat on it. Volcanion doesn't look that good either. It has the same ugly yellow color as shiny Hoopa, and it really isn't done better. This generation isn't too bad, but I don't really like the mythicals, especially their shiny forms. Overall, I'd rate this generation as 6.5 out of 10. And my pick for the legendary contestant of Kalos is Yveltal. I love this bacon bird. It's strong, it has a good signature move, and its typing gives it 2 immunities. Shiny's awesome too. For the mythical Pokemon, I'd say Hoopa. I like the appearances of both forms, and they both have pretty good stats. Now into Generation 7. Alola has 11 legendaries, more than any generation, and 5 mythicals. Most of these are part of multiple evolution lines, but they're still high quality legendaries. The main trio of Alola is the Light Trio, consisting of Solgaleo, Lunala, and Necrozma. They're all psychic types, and Necrozma can have different forms by fusing with Solgaleo or Lunala. It also has a form called Ultra Necrozma, known for destroying the most 3DSs worldwide. What I love about this trio is how well Game Freak made you feel connected to them better than any other game. When you find out that you've been with and have bonded with these Pokemon all for long, you feel super connected to them and you want to catch them. In other games, you just go to an area and catch a legendary. It doesn't really feel special because you had no connection to them in the first place. About the actual legendaries, they're okay. I don't really like how different they are to their previous forms. I feel like they should have looked more similar. But I like the idea of a lion and a bat representing the sun and moon. It makes sense. The Necrozma is the in-between of both, and it's meant to represent nothingness, with attributes like having a black color and reflecting light. Solgaleo and Lunala are also tied with 2 other legendaries, Cosmog and Cosmo. Both small, weak legendaries that have been with you for most of the story of the game that evolve into Solgaleo or Lunala. These Pokemon have less of a legendary shtick and are more story-related. But it makes sense that they're legendary because they evolve into legendaries. Another group of legendaries that's kind of story-related is the Guardian Deities. It consists of Tapu Koko, Tapu Lele, Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Fini. They each guard one island of Alola, and they all have the fairy typing because apparently that screams a guardian. I like the power that the Tapus are supposed to have, but do they actually have that power? The last 2 legendaries of Alola is also an evolution line, Type Null and Savali. The story behind these Pokemon is that Type Null was created by Fava, calling it the Beast Killer Project. The goal being to create a Pokemon similar to Arceus. For the actual Pokemon, I like it. Although Type Null's stats aren't the best, once it evolves into Savali, its stats become... The Kierna is really more tied with Generation 6 because it was first seen in a Pokemon movie that took place in Kalos, but its data was first created in Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's also pretty easy to obtain and can be received anytime as long as you have a copy of any main Gen 7 game and an internet connection. Just scan this code and it's yours. The next mythical Pokemon is Marshall. It's a small ghost fighting type Pokemon that was only obtainable through an event at GameStop because that place is good people. For the Pokemon though, it's amazing. Its stats are really good, its signature move is broken, and it only has 4 weaknesses. The next mythical Pokemon is Zeraora, an electric type Pokemon also got at GameStop. It's basically the same thing as Marshadow, you get a code and redeem it in-game. Its signature move is Plasma Fist, a 100 power physical electric type move that changes the normal type moves used in that turn to electric type, so you can make some pretty cool strategies with it. The mythical evolution line of Generation 7 is Meltan and Melmetal. This Pokemon was different because it wasn't given as an event, but you had to get Meltan and Melmetal in Pokemon Go and then transfer them to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. To get them Pokemon Go, you had to use a mystery box item which would attract Meltan for 30 minutes. My biggest complaint about Meltan and Melmetal is that to evolve Meltan, you need 400 Meltan candies. Why would I spend that much time getting that much candy for an alright Pokemon? Although Melmetal is extremely hard to obtain, it's not that bad. Its signature move, Double Iron Bash, is a total base power of 120 and has a 30% chance to flinch. Not bad. Now for the shinies. Silhouette got Sunburned and Lunala. Okay, Lunala isn't bad. The Cosmo is okay, but I kind of prefer the original color over the shiny tinted blue. I feel like a different color should have been used. Techno and Valley kind of have the same idea as the Cosmo, but the small color changes make it look better. Gold tints look really well on it. Cosmog and Cosmoem. Really? Guardia Deity's shinies, although all the same, look pretty well, especially Tapu Koko and Finny. One of their main colors is replaced with black, and the other color stays the same. I like how they look. Magearna!
I'm telling you, it's shiny.
Marshadow seems like it'll be the same case, but thankfully there's a difference to notice in less than 5 minutes that can only be seen when Marshadow attacks, where the little part turns from green to purple. Not a bad change, but I feel like there could have been more to it. Aurora has a great shiny, one of the best white shinies in my opinion. It really makes it stand out from other electric-type shinies, which makes it awesome. Meltan and Melmetal are a bit disappointing, the color just changes from yellow to orange. Pretty lazy. Overall, I really like the legendary Pokemon of Alola. They were so well connected to the story in so many ways, which is amazing. The letdown though is the shinies. They either don't change enough or they look really bad. There are a few that do look good, but not many considering the high amount of legendaries and mythicals in this generation. Overall, I'd rate this generation 7 out of 10. The legendary contestant for Alola is Necrozma. I think Necrozma is a really cool Pokemon. In the original games, it's a very sudden encounter, so it really makes the player want to catch it. It's also a really good Pokemon, especially in its Ultra form. For the Mythical, I'd say Marsha. It's a pretty good Pokemon overall, and its shiny isn't too bad. Generation 8, it's bad. There are 3 legendaries currently attainable, and there are 3 more legendaries and a mythical Pokemon coming soon, and they're not really that good. The 3 legendaries in Sword and Shield are Zacian, Zamazenta, and Eternatus. Zacian and Zamazenta are... Why? Eternatus is... I have no idea, honestly. There are 3 upcoming legendary Pokemon, 1 evolution line and 1 single legendary. Kubu and Urshifu is the evolution line coming in the Isle of Armor DLC for Sword and Shield, and honestly, from what we know, it doesn't look too good. The problem is that it's really just a fighting panda Pokemon, that's it. Urshifu does have 2 forms, with a water fighting type form, which is pretty cool, but that's the only thing I like about it. Calyrex is a deer, I don't know. All we know is that it's an upcoming legendary Pokemon that we were given in the Crown Tundra. Looks pretty dumb though. There's also one upcoming mythical Pokemon that will be given out for buying tickets for the new Kogo called Zarude. It's a dark grass-type monkey Pokemon that has a signature move Jungle Healing, a move which heals off of its allies. Honestly, I don't think this Pokemon is that bad, but why is it a mythical? There were way cooler options than a monkey. Only Zacian, Zamazenta, and Eternatus have known shinies. Zacian is okay, but I don't really like how blue is added to blue. Zamazenta, on the other hand, is a really nice shiny form. I really like the pink color. The similar idea was used for Eternatus, but it didn't really turn out that well. It looks too pink. Overall, I don't really like Alora's legendaries. They're too generic, and while they do relate to the story a little bit, you still just randomly catch Eternatus, which I don't think should have happened. And for the legendary contender, I'll pick Zamazenta. I feel like it's the only good one, although the legendaries feel a bit too bland also. So, we have 8 legendaries and 8 mythicals. Let's focus on the legendaries first. We have Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, Rayquaza, Cresselia, Virizion, Yveltal, Necrozma, and Zamazenta. For organizing this contest, I'm going to give a maximum of 4 points. 1 for looks, 1 for stats, 1 for story relevance, and 1 for shiny color. The Pokemon with the most points wins, and ties will be dealt with if encountered. Let's start with looks. Mewtwo is a pretty sick looking Pokemon, and it's well known for that. Ho-Oh. For real though, Ho-Oh, despite being a good fire type, is just a bird, and it doesn't stand out too well. I'm not passing that one. Rayquaza, on the other hand, is sick. How can you say no to that? Cresselia doesn't look bad. It's more of a cute-ish Pokemon, but it looks very elegant and serves the legendary shtick very well. Virizion looks great. It's super elegant and has a really nice coat. Yveltal isn't active though. I feel like the color choice was very poor, but it's been better. Necrozma looks very cool though. The dark black fits very well, and it definitely looks like a menace. Zamazenta doesn't look bad. I prefer the hero of any battle forms, but they both look nice. Now on to stats. Mewtwo has a really good stats, especially in its mega forms. That's another point. Ho-Oh is also a very powerful Pokemon. It has well-rounded strength, and its worst stat is still 90. Rayquaza is also super strong, but don't even get me started on its attack. Truly a menace. Cresselia is where things start to get pretty bad. Most of its attack stats aren't that good, and even its strong stats are only 120. Virizian's okay. It doesn't have too good stats, but they're still acceptable, especially for being a trio legendary. I think I'm gonna let it slide. Rialto's stats are like Virizian's, but better. They're not amazing, but again, they're still acceptable. Necrozma's power heavily depends on what form it's in. Although its normal form stats aren't that good, its other forms have phenomenal stats. But Necrozma is going to be most likely used in its other forms, so I'm not going to give it a point for that one. Zamazenta can be very powerful. Both forms have very great stats, especially its Crown Shield form. Now, for story relevance. Mewtwo is barely part of the canon story, even the anime. And in the game, all you do is walk in a cave and catch Mewtwo, that's it. And Ho is basically the same thing. Yes, it has relation to other legendaries, but those aren't canon either. Rayquaza, though, is very related to the story. It has a strong connection to Ground and Kyogre, always being a peacemaker between the two. Cresselia has barely any relevance to the story as well. It isn't as bad as Ho or Mewtwo, but players still might pass by Cresselia without knowing. Virizion does have a lot of story relevance, but it's not really noticeable. It's part of the Swords of Justice trio, which protects habitats from harm, but you don't really notice it much in the actual game's story, so I don't think I'll give it a point. Yveltal, especially for being one of the main Call of legendaries, lacks in story relevance. You basically just catch it and maybe you use it for the Elite Four, that's it. Necrozma's kind of both. Although it pretty much did nothing in the original games, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon make Necrozma very relevant. I think I'll let it slide. Zamazenta does very well in being part of the story. It's mostly relevant in the second half of the game, which is how most legendary Pokemon should be designed, in my opinion. And finally, for the shiny colors. Mewtwo's is pretty bad. I don't really like the green color, and I massively prefer the original color. Ho, though, is amazing. It's a great shiny, favorited by many. Rayquaza's is also sick. It's a really great black shiny, probably my favorite. Roselia has a really nice shiny as well. The purple color looks really nice on it. Virizion is also really good. I love the red. It looks super well. Although we all love to joke about the bacon guard, it's not really that good of a shiny. Besides, that looks like the most raw bacon ever. Who would want to eat that? Necrozma is mixed. Its normal form is a pretty lame shiny, but its other forms are also lame, never mind. Zamazenta has a very nice shiny. The pink goes really well on it, and I like that. So after all that, there are only two legendaries with full points, Rayquaza and Zamazenta. For my final decision, my favorite Pokemon is, well, it's Virizion, but the winner of the legendary contest is Rayquaza. I feel like Rayquaza is best representative of the legendary Pokemon. It's cool, strong, and has an amazing shiny. But we're not done yet. Now it's time for the Mythicals. I'm going to use the same point system as a legendary contest, so we'll start with lows. And I'm not going to include Zarude because it hasn't been released yet. I think Mew is a pretty cute Pokemon. It also looks very rare and definitely fits the mythical shtick. Salami.
It's funny, I love it.
The Deoxys looks really cool, but it isn't really mythical. It's way more called legendary in my opinion. Shaman is a really good one to be mythical. Depending on its forms, it can look cute or aggressive, which is a good combination. Alouetta is also a really good looking mythical for mostly the same reason as Mew. Hoopa is not that good. It's like Shaman, but a bit overdone. The cube form is a bit too small, and the menacing form is way too big and powerful. Marshadow is a really accurate representation of what a mythical Pokemon should look like. It looks cute, but also kind of like a menace. I like it. Mew is very balanced. It has 100 of each stat, which isn't bad. Celebi has the exact same stats, so point as well. Deoxys stats heavily depend on its form. Some of its stats can be extremely high, up to 180, while other stats can be as low as 20. But I'll give it a point because at least one of its stats will be very powerful. Shaman's land form has the same base stats of Mew and Celebi, but its sky form is a bit different. Its defense stats are slightly lower, with its special attack and speed is increased. Pretty good in both forms though. Alouetta is also very good. Depending on its form, Alouetta can either have increased physical stats or increased special stats. Both forms are very powerful though. I don't really think Hoopa is that good, although both of its forms have a good stat, its bad stats are also too bad. Marshadow is also pretty good. It has mixed stats, but they're all solid. Time for story relevance, and Mew isn't part of the story at all. Celebi's better though. There's a whole mission you have to do to get Celebi, which is great. Deoxys is also pretty relevant to the story. It's not that relevant in the original home games, but in so you fight it after you catch Rayquaza and fly into space. Shaman isn't that story related though. It does have some story behind it, but it's not really related to the main story of the games. Alouetta, on the other hand, is more canon. There's not really a story behind catching it, but there is an anime Nova that has a story behind Alouetta. Hoopa has a lot of story in the anime, appearing in multiple movies. Although not appearing in the games, it still has enough story behind it in general. And Marshadow is pretty much Mew again. Now, finally, for shiny cards. Mew has a solid shiny. The Symbol change looks pretty good on it. Celebi also has a nice shiny. It's the same case as Mew, but the change color is obviously different. Deoxys also has a great shiny color. It's one of the best yellow shinies in my opinion, and it's done super well. Shaman also has a nice shiny. The green color of change looks really nice. Meloetta has a nice shiny too, similar to Shaman's. But ew! Marshadow, oh yeah, that one. So, after all the points have been calculated, the final winner of the Mythical Pokemon competition is Celebi. I think Celebi is a great mythical Pokemon. It looks cute, it's decently strong, it has a story mission, and its shiny looks amazing. So after all that, I think legendary and mythical Pokemon are great, and they accurately represent good and rare Pokemon.
Well, that's all good, but now I gotta go feed my birds. Wait. Well,